Today we're taking a look at the Yankee Hill machine Resonator K. With the Resonator K, I use the Yankee Hill machine muzzle device ecosystem with their Kerrs 1.375 by 24 suppressor adapter. As I talk about in all the videos, I got this at Dollar Pond in Grovetown, Georgia. It's a local FFL and Class 3 SOT where I get most of my suppressors, ammunition, and firearms. For this testing, I used some Wolf Polyformance 150 grain supersonics and some Remington UMC 220 grain subsonics for 300 blackout. And for 308, ideally I would have used some M80 ball, but I didn't have any on hand, so I ended up sticking with some Bar Newell soft point 308s. Once again, I'm using POV glasses. Although these don't pick up sound as well as I'd like, they do give a reference of the difference in sound changes from suppressed and unsuppressed from the shooter's perspective. Due to the glasses having the camera in the center, you'll see my head position is more upright than normal, and that is to clear the optics as best as I can. The first firearm I used was a Sig Virtus 300 blackout upper with a 9-inch barrel. I left it on the suppressor setting, which led to some cycling issues with the subs, as you'll see in the footage. Double feed. The next firearm I used was a FN Scar 17S with a 16-inch barrel. I did change the suppressor settings on this one to hopefully mitigate any cycling issues. The last rifle I used was a Ruger American Predator in 308 with an 18-inch barrel. Here are some of my thoughts on a 30 cal K can and a bit of a debrief on the firearms used. Obviously, the 300 Blackout was the easiest to suppress. The supers were probably too loud to shoot a ton without ears. However, the subs were very quiet. I'd feel pretty comfortable shooting a few or even a full magazine through the Virtus without ears. However, the 308 is another story entirely. There's so much pressure and blast that it makes it hard to feel comfortable shooting without ears. Personally, I just wouldn't do it. So the question becomes, and a question that I would ask if I were watching something like this is, why would you get a K can? The K can will have less volume in general, which means less sound reduction. However, the compromise really is it's less weight and it's shorter. This is a factor if you're shooting in other positions, like standing, other than prone or seated at a bench. Yes, you could get a titanium can that's longer with more volume with about the same weight. But in general, again, those you have to compromise with, and you're going to be able to not really shoot large volleys of fire through it in general like you could with the Resonator K, being that it's full auto rated. So the trade-off with the K can really is its weight and length in exchange for sound mitigation. A caveat to this, from the camera's point of view, after watching all of this video, the 308 sound reduction doesn't seem very good overall. However, being behind the rifle as a shooter, I can tell there is a big difference between shooting suppressed and unsuppressed. The smaller can does cut some of that noise, concussion, and blast you'd get from an unsuppressed host, which makes it a lot more pleasant to shoot for extended periods of time. It makes my range trips more enjoyable shooting 5.56 or 308 or whatever through a K can, because I don't have all that weight on the end of the barrel. And I generally, when I shoot, I'm shooting 300, 400, 500 rounds at a time. I'm not just going there and zeroing and leaving. I have a range in my backyard, which allows me to really do a lot of shooting that most people wouldn't get to do. And stupid Windows virus and threat protection getting in the way of this long rant. So that's probably a good indicator to stop.